Hey folks, so in this video, I just wanted to cover Palantir earnings real quick. Now, we can clearly see that Palantir is doing really well in the after hours. We're up about 26%, which is about $2. So Palantir must have said something really good, or their numbers must have been really good. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to crack open that earnings report. Now, we can see right here on the left side, it says Palantir reports its second consecutive quarter of positive GAAP net income. GAAP earnings per share of 1 cent in Q1 of 2023. Now, if you watched my last video on Palantir, I was saying, hey, you know what? Don't fall for this trap, because Palantir, they said that they had positive earnings, but it wasn't necessarily from their operating income. And I'm going to go ahead and show you their last quarter earnings. So this is Palantir in Q4 of 2022. And pay attention to this line item right here. So we can see, right here they have revenue, they have cost of revenue, and then all the way down here we have loss from operations. So if we're just looking at this loss from operations, it's about $18 million right here. So they had about an $18 million loss in operations. Now, here's another important thing to notice, is that they had this other income, and it was about $44 million of other income. So this essentially is what got them to net positive. So it wasn't necessarily because of their operations were profitable. So it was a little bit misleading here, because other income is categorized as other income because it's not necessarily a part of the core business. So, you might be thinking, what is this other income? So if you actually go into the 10K report, because you have to remember that this was basically at the end of the year. So they're reporting a 10K, not a 10Q. So if we go into the notes right here, we can see exactly what this amount is. So it says right here, in accordance with accounting for step acquisition, the company recognized a gain of $44.3 million as a result of remeasuring its pre-existing interest in Palantir Japan, held immediately before the business combination. So this was essentially just a remeasuring of just their assets, liabilities, all of that stuff. So that essentially netted a gain of that $44 million that we see right here. So, when they were saying, hey, you know what, Palantir is reporting their first quarter of positive GAAP earnings per share, blah, 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 that wasn't coming from the actual operation. So it was a little bit misleading. But this time around, this is different. So this time is different. So right here, we can clearly see that, when we just go down this right here, we have revenue, we have cost of revenue, and then we have operating expense. And then when we go down here, it's income loss from operations. This is positive. So this is a good sign, you guys. This is a good sign. That means that essentially from their core business, they are now netting positive. So that's good. Now they have some other income. They have interest income right here. They got other income and expense. This time it's negative. But essentially, the important thing to note, this number is positive. And last year, same quarter, this number was very negative. You can see right here, it was about negative 40 million. So this time it's positive 4 million. So that's a good sign. Now, we could go down a little bit, and we could look at the statement of cash flows. Now, the statement of cash flows is going to tell you some interesting stuff right here. So if we're just looking, let's go ahead and look at stock-based compensation. So if we're looking at stock-based compensation, we essentially spent about $114.7 million on stock-based compensation. If we're looking at 2022, we spent a lot more. So if we're looking at 2022, same quarter, we spent about $149.3 million in stock-based compensation. Now, what about last quarter? So what does last quarter look like? So let me go ahead and find that. So if we're looking at Q4 of 2022, let's go down to the statement of cash flows. And let's go ahead and let's look for that line item. Okay, let's see. Where are ya? stock-based compensation. So unfortunately, they're showing the full year here. They're not necessarily breaking it down for us. So let's go ahead and see if we could get a quarterly view of this somewhere. All right, so let's see. Right here they do show us. So right here for the 3 months ended December 31st, we can see add stock-based compensation. So they spent about $129.3 million on stock-based compensation in Q4 of 2022. And if we're just looking at Q1 of 2023, that right there is $114.7 million. So the stock-based compensation amount is going down. So that is also what's helping them go positive for operating income. So this is basically just summarizing just what I saw right away from the earnings report. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a good one.